Rev up your engines! Well, cold weather's certainly here, so I'm going to show you how to get your car ready for that cold weather before you get stuck somewhere. Now, as crazy as it sounds, one of the first things you want to check is your coolant. Your coolant is what makes your car's heater work. You want to make sure it's full. Now, you want to make sure it's full to the top because the heater core that gives you hot air is generally the highest point in the cooling system. So if there's air in the system, the air will fill up the heater core. And as nutty as it sounds, a heater core with hot air will not put much heat on you. It needs water, coolant, because the specific heat of coolant, water, and antifreeze mixture is much higher than air. Heat coming to you if you have coolant in the radiator core versus just hot air. Just being low on coolant will make your heater not work. Now let's say you're full of coolant, but you notice your temperature gauge is staying really low and you're not getting any heat. Well, in that case, you usually need a thermostat. The thermostat is supposed to stay closed when it's cold. It's cold outside, the thermostat stays closed. So the water stays in the engine block and gets hotter faster instead of circulating through the radiator and cooling off. Now, once the thermostat opens up, then the coolant flows through the radiator, cools the engine. But it's not supposed to open until the temperature gets a little over halfway. Then it opens and you start to get more heat. The engine's warming up now. There's nothing wrong with this car, but it's only 19 degrees outside, so it might take a few minutes for this to get to the middle. Once it gets to the middle, it should get pretty good heat. Now, the second most important thing getting your car ready for winter is check your car's battery. You want to check it every once in a while because batteries, like humans, do not like cold weather. The colder it is, the harder it is for them to crank up and start your engine. Now, this particular tester is an Ansel BA301 tester. It doesn't cost that much money and it works quite well, as I'm going to show you. If you don't trust people, a lot of people don't trust people. You go to an auto parts store, a mechanic, oh yeah, you need a battery. They want to sell you a battery, right? You get one of these and test it yourself. Watch. It's hook positive to positive. Make a nice tight connection. Negative to negative. Make sure it's tight. Then we will do regular flooded, cold cranking amps. This is 650, so we'll set it at 650. And it's awful cold out, so we'll see what it says. Look at this. Good battery. 725. This battery was just sent to me. I put it in about 3 weeks ago, and it's a really good battery. Now, if your battery's weak, better to change it sooner than later. Because if you get stranded somewhere, one, it's the pain of being stranded, and two, odds are you're going to get ripped off. I have seen people call emergency trucks, tow trucks, whatever, to either jump start it or find out what's wrong. They tell you need a battery. They're going to sell you a battery. They're going to charge you between $200 and $300, right? Last year, I bought a battery for this at Rural King. Cost me $50, right? I only have this new one in because the company gave it to me and I'm trying it out. It's a very good battery. It's a lot more expensive than the $50 one. But you're going to pay so much extra for a battery if you're stranded and you need it now, especially if somebody comes to you, you're better off checking it. Doing a little Boy Scout, be prepared. If you know it's getting weak, and especially if your battery's 4 or 5 years old, it doesn't have much life left in it. Let's say it's cold in the morning, you try to start your car and it goes, and then it starts. That usually means, hey, your battery's going bad. Now, it can also mean your starter's going bad, but a machine like this checks the starter too. You put it, just check the starter, you crank it over, and it'll tell you if it's taking too many cranking amps and that the starter's going out too. Plus, when you're done checking that, you can also check the alternator, because if the alternator isn't charging the battery, you're going to get stranded too. You can check all that stuff yourself. And as you can see, this thing is $50 on Amazon. It's nothing. It'll work on any 12-volt car, motorcycle, you name it. Handy tool for that small price. Now, the next thing to check is your air pressure when it gets cold. And this is a matter of pure physics. As it gets colder outside, the pressure of a sealed unit like this tire will go down because it's cold. Conversely, if it's hot, the pressure will go up. This is why you always check your car tires when they're cold, because if you drive the car around, the tires get hot. And if you don't believe me, drive around a bunch and then touch the tires, you'll feel they're getting warm. You always check when cold. And when a cold front comes like now, when it's 19 out here, which is cold for Tennessee, you want to check your tire pressure. There it goes, it shut off at 34. Like I say, we'll do all 4. Now, it's a good idea to have one of these devices in your trunk for 2 reasons. Number 1, you can fill them up with air whenever you want, and you want to fill your tires cold. If you drive to a gas station, tires are hot, you get a false reading, plus half the time those things don't even work. And 2, this one is a combo air compressor and jump starter. If your battery does go bad, you can jump start the car with it too. Well, it's a good thing I'm testing this Gulu compressor out because it's all burnt out. It smells. I thought I smelled something out here, but I thought maybe somebody was burning leaves, but man, it really stinks. So it's no good. It says an error or 2, whatever that means. This is the first time I've used this thing, and it's burnt out already. So do not buy this. We're going to have to get one of my traditional ones to pump it up with. So it's the moral of the story. Let Scotty test it out, not you. Would have been a waste of money. Too bad I don't have smell-o-vision, because you can smell the whole electrical system burn out on this cheap pile of junk. Well, you check out the back. It is made in China, so there it is. Do not buy one of these things. The first time I used it, and it burnt out. A good thing I'm outside. It didn't burn anything else down except itself. So I guess I get my JF Eagle out of my wife's Lexus trunk. I know that works. This is a solid unit. I've been using it for years. It's a little harder to get on because it screws on. It's cold outside. But it's actually a better connection once you get it on. It's just kind of a pain screwing it on. There we go. That's on tight. You get a better connection anyway. Well, it's set at that. Same as the other. 34. Turn it on. We'll see how this holds up. It sounds better. It's going to pump it up faster too. Well, you can see that one works perfectly fine. I've had it for years. Okay, so this JF Eagle one works great. Now, it is designed in the U.S., but made in China. It's still made in China, but at least Americans designed it. And speaking of tires, what tires should you have in the winter? Well, times have changed. Everybody used to put snow tires on the back drive wheels in the winter so you could drive in the snow. You had to either buy snow tires and have them put on your rims, or have spare and junky rims with snow tires on them, store them in your garage, put them on, take them off. It was a pain in the butt. But now there's all kinds of tires that you can buy. So I'm going to tell you what's best for you. Now, in the case of my wife's Lexus, I have 4 Michelin Defender all-season tires. They're good for all seasons, not for much snow though. It spent most of its life in Texas, now it's living in Tennessee. Doesn't snow that much. All-season tires have a good durability. They're harder, they last over time, right? Now, they're not that good in a bunch of snow or ice, I'll tell you that. Then you would want all-weather tires. There's a big difference between all season and all weather. The all weather tires have a more aggressive tread. They're not going to last as long as the all seasons, but both of them you can leave on all year round. Now, if you have a front wheel drive vehicle, you want your best tire on the front in the winter because, hey, it's going to go through the snow. That's what's pulling you, right? So if you lived in a more snowy area, for instance, my mother lived in Buffalo most of her life, and we put weather tires, not all season, but all weather tires. Back in the day, we used snow tires, but hey, times have changed. The tread patterns of the all-weather ones, hey, they're pretty good. Now, she didn't go out when there was 4 feet of snow either, but they know how to plow the roads in Buffalo. If there's any place they know how to plow snow, it's Buffalo. So, here, we just use the all-season ones. It's perfectly fine. Now, if you live in a real snowy area, yeah, you're probably going to have to get snow tires, maybe even studded snow tires if it ices up a lot, carry chains in the trunk, right? For most people that live in urban areas where it doesn't really snow all that much, hey, the all-season ones are fine, and if you want, you can go to all-weather. Just realize you can use the all-weather ones, just like the all-season ones, all year, but they're going to wear out faster. And they're also going to make more noise. A lot of people don't like noise. These Michelin all-season ones, they're real quiet. They ride fine. We have no problems. We drove it up to Chicago, and it was fine, you know. I mean, you don't want to drive when there's a ton of snow anyways. So, Now you know the difference in which tire you might want to buy before you just go in there and they try to sell you everything including the kitchen sink. Now the next thing that'll keep you prepared for winter weather is this. It may sound stupid, but have a good ice scraper and snow brusher in your trunk. If you live someplace where it doesn't snow and ice much, and when it happens, one, you're not going to get out of the driveway, and two, when you get to the store, they'll all be gone because people will have bought them all at the last second because they forgot to get them in the first place. These things don't cost much. I got this on Amazon. It was like $8 or something. I've been using it for years. A good scraper and a good brusher so it doesn't wreck your paint. Common sense isn't that common these days, so make sure you got one and you throw it in the trunk. You might also throw some windshield solvent in the trunk. Make sure you get the right kind. See, this says protects to -20, okay? It's 19 now, so we got another 39 degrees to go before this will freeze. When you do fill your squirters with this stuff, make sure you use strong stuff. Some of the real cheapies say protect to 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Of course, water freezes at 32, meaning there's no alcohol or anything in to keep it from freezing. Now, even if you do have cool stuff in it, you might find that your squirters could just freeze up, clog up, and they won't work when it's really cold. That's the added benefit of having a jug of this, because you're prepared like me, got some blue paper towels. If your windshield's all messed up, you can pour this on the windshield and then you can clean it off. Plus, if it's got a lot of ice on it, hey, if this thing isn't frozen, you'll know it's working right. Shaking it around, you can pour it on ice and you can use a scraper. The ice will come out a lot easier because it'll dilute it. So, you might have some of this. Leave that in the trunk too. The smart thing to do is to check your fan belt. Or drive belt if you want to be politically correct. There it is. Now, this one isn't that old. You can see there's no cracks in the belt. It's not loose making any noise. If it's all cracked up, or if it squeals a lot because it's stretched, replace it now. You want to be stranded in the middle of nowhere and the belt breaks, right? You can't drive the car. Most cars, the water pump won't work. You won't get any heat in the car. The alternator will stop charging. It'll be a big mess. Where if you put it on ahead of time, hey, you're not going to get involved in being stuck somewhere because the stupid belt either broke or is slipping so bad that the alternator won't even charge it. Because you have to realize one thing about serpentine belts, these big ones, right? They got all those grooves. Sometimes they don't even crack, but they stretch enough that they're no longer tight enough to run everything. Back in the day when I was a young mechanic, they didn't have those belts. They had regular V-belts, and we mechanics had to tighten them every so often. These have automatic tensioners, so they tighten themselves. But eventually, the automatic tensioner reaches as far as it can tighten, and if the belt has stretched and worn, it needs replacing that. So, if you hear any odd noises or stuff, have it checked. If it's not all cracked up and it's still making a noise, hey, replace the belt now. These belts last for years and years and years. So when they do go out, hey, do a little preemptive surgery. Take it out and put a new one in before you get stranded. Then you don't have to think about it for years. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is your wiper blades. People hardly ever think about their wiper blades. But if you're driving through a snowstorm and slush is thrown up and it won't wipe it off, you're going to wish you've changed them sooner than later. Nice winterized blades. You can see they're all covered with rubber, so the ice doesn't stick on them. We changed them out about 6 months ago and they're still working perfectly fine. Now, these are silicone-based wiper blades. These particular ones are Rain-X silicone wiper blades. Now, they do cost more, but they last an awful long time. Think about it. Silicone's made from crushed rocks. Rubber's made from the sap of trees. Which you think is going to last longer? Now, of course, they're not pure silicone. They're siliconized rubber, but they last so much longer. They don't streak. They don't make noise. That change them. If you're even worried before it starts snowing, buy a new pair. Then, hey, you don't have to think about it for quite some time. And if you want it to last a long time, clean the blades every once in a while. 1 part water and 1 part alcohol. Rubbing alcohol works best. You get all the black goo off of them and they will last longer. That's why mine lasts so long. I do clean them every once in a while. Most people don't think twice. Then all the grit gets on there. Once grit is on them, grit is like sandpaper. As they wipe your windshield, not only can they scratch your windshield, but they eat up the blades. Then you got to buy new ones. It's not that hard to clean them 3 or 4 times a year. So now you know a few more things about how to keep your car running smoothly in the winter so you don't freeze, so you don't run off the road, get a flat tire, be stranded somewhere. It's not that hard to do with a little preparation. And with that in mind, I am now back in Clarksville, Tennessee. I'll be here for the next 4 months, at least, till my garage gets fixed in Rhode Island. And I'm looking for people with cars that have strange problems no one can figure out, or especially brand new cars, or cars that are a year or less old, so I can show people what's out in the new car world. Just email scottykilmer@gmail.com. That's the real me, and I will respond. You can meet me, have a cup of coffee, learn more about cars, show off your car, or maybe I can help figure out what the heck's wrong with your car when nobody else can figure it out. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.